Voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bobby Rush. As a blues man, I love Mississippi Public Broadcasting. If you support Mississippi music and their local programming, donate now, right now, and become a member today, not tomorrow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Doesn't matter how big or small, but we prefer big. Thank you very much.
All righty, folks, okie dokie. Welcome back. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing, and we are talking about gardening. Here it is, the first full weekend in June. I know a lot of stuff's happened. We've had a lot of rain. We had a lot of hot, humid weather. The rain, too much of it, a little bit rough on our plants, but we'll deal with it. Hot and humid, can't help you there. Me, I left. Good morning, Java. How you doing?
Oh, man, rocking and rolling on this Friday morning. This has been a whirlwind of a week, man.
Well, when I said I left, I am not kidding. I'm in England right now, man. It got up to I guess about 64 yesterday, and everybody's saying it's just normal summer day. So for the next couple of months, I'm going to be broadcasting from over here, but my heart's still in my little cottage garden in Jackson, Mississippi. As a matter of fact, I spent a lot of time day before yesterday getting ready for this trip and taking some pictures and, been following what's going on, as I always will, around the state on Mississippi Gardening on Facebook. So I don't know where to get started, except I'm hoping people give us a call. It is a live call-in program. We're going to be talking nothing about gardening, whatever's on your gardening mind. And Java,
yeah, we do have
anything going in your life, man?
Everything's going good, man. You actually, before you left, came by and I'll say blessed Crystal and I's garden, at the house. And I did have a question because you do it so often as far as going overseas. What does preparing your garden for such a long trip, kind of look like for you?
Well, one of the things, I've tried to, over the years, really over the decades, I've been in my garden for about 40 years now. And over the years, I've tried to plant things that kind of take care of themselves not because I'm gone a lot, because I used to travel a lot with my work, a lot of lectures, and not because it's hot and it's miserable in the summertime and cold and wet in the winter, and not because of the humidity and all like that, but because I'm lazy. I'm tired. Java, I'm old enough where I bend over, I see sparkly things, so I just I look for things that'll kind of take care of themselves. And about twice a year, once in the late winter and once in the late fall, I go around with a tarp and I weed. I do a lot of weeding. I pull whatever grew over the summer or whatever grew over the winter that I don't want, vines and nut grass, and I just pull what I don't like. I give things a good pruning, and that's twice a year. And then I mulch everything, and pretty much that's all it takes to take my garden going. So before I leave, I just walk around the yard with a cup of coffee in my hand. If I can't do it with a cup of coffee by then, it ain't happening. And I do a little snipping, a little weeding. I gave all of my perennials day before yesterday what's called a Chelsea chop. I cut a lot of the late summer and fall blooming perennials, and some of the annuals like basils and coleus. I just cut them way back. Ain't nobody gonna be there to see them anyway. And what it'll do is it'll help sort of take the stress off the roots and make them bush out and branch out, and they won't get quite as floppy. But most important, they're not gonna need a lot of watering over the summertime. So what little needs to be protected from the sun, I cluster together. What needs to be watered, I put together what little bit. I'm talking about 4 or 5 big pots full of stuff. I put in one spot, and maybe once or twice a month, my daughter will stop by and take a look at it, check my mail and stuff like that. But I'll tell you what, let's put up a picture. Who's our live stream producer today?
This morning we have Abram and Sahana back there in the booth.
Okay. If I can get them to put up picture number 4. And folks, if you're not on live stream, you're going to miss out on this. If you are on live stream, you'll see what we're talking about. And if you're not on live stream, you can go to mpbonline.org, click on radio, and take it from there, Gestalt Gardener, or go to YouTube, and in the search box, just type Gestalt Gardener, and it'll take you right to what me and Java are talking about today. They got that picture up, Java?
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful stream.
Yeah. I'm saying, you can't really see. People say they see my garden. They drive by and say, "I've seen your garden, Felder." And you ain't seen my garden. You have to go in my garden, turn around, get up by the house, turn around, and look back out towards the street, because my garden is laid out backwards. It's laid out from my point of view, not people passing by the street. Anyway, I've got a nice little deck behind a fence, a low fence, waist-high fence, so you can't see it from the street. But this is where I grow my herbs and some of my vegetables and things that in a big container, a big silver galvanized watering trough, really, so that they're all in one spot. But while I'm standing there, I took my garden hose, put my thumb over the end of it, squirted way out over the front border into the street, into my pickup truck, and I watered everything in the back of my pickup truck really, really good. So anyway, that's what I do to get ready to go. I water everything really good and say goodbye, good luck, you're on your own.
And then it magically makes it across the summer. Yeah.
Well, John,
or it doesn't.
Over the years, I found stuff that won't take it. I don't plant tomatoes. I plant a few tomatoes early, just on the chance I get a few early ones. But I don't plant things that have to be watered. If I don't plant a lot of summer annuals, the ones I do plant are the kind you see growing in the cracks of sidewalks and growing in places where they don't really need a lot of care. Notably, a lot of plants from the cooler elevations of South America, from Africa, plants that are used to drought, things that grow on the edge of deserts. And so I've got quite a few plants that over the years I've found will grow without needing a bunch of care. If they get watered every couple of 3 weeks from rain, that's great. If they go 2 months without water, some are going to look a little bad. But over the years, I found plants that will really, really grow well without a bunch of care at all. A lot of them are native plants and wildflowers. So, that's one of my keys to success, is choosing plants that fit my style of gardening. In other words, I'm not dependent on it. It's not dependent on me. We get along. So I just want to throw that. By the way, I did do one thing. Let me see if I can get another picture thrown up. Picture number. Let me see. I don't have a label. Picture number 1, the first picture I sent. And folks, if you're not tuned in, this is a close-up of my compost pile. And all my compost pile is a bunch of leaves piled up against a fence. I put some metal edging, like roofing tin, on the ground to keep tree roots from coming up in it, and a piece against the fence so it doesn't rot the fence. But I just pile stuff up. Leaves, weeds, the kind of weeds that don't have a lot of seeds, vegetable scraps, eggshells, banana peels. When I do my pruning, I just throw everything on there. And you can see in this picture some crumbled up eggshells, which they weren't quite as crumbled up as they are now, but a possum got into them. But can you see my thermometer, Java?
90 degrees in that pile.
It was 91 degrees, and I was so proud of it. I mean, I'm the kind of nerd, even though I don't turn the pile, I don't aerate it, I don't sift it, I don't do any of that stuff that I tell people they ought to do. I just pile stuff up, and it works. But I put a compost thermometer out there just because I'm curious. I've got an intellectual curiosity, and got up to 91 degrees the other day. I was so happy. And then I realized it was 92 degrees outside.
No.
So I mean, my compost was cooler than the air temperature. But I have got my compost by mixing grass clippings from a neighbor's yard, and a little cottonseed meal, some stuff that's rich in nitrogen. I've gotten it up to 147 degrees before. That's steaming hot. But I've got great big worms that'll churn all summer long. They're going to be turning into the richest compost, better than anything you can buy because it's homemade.
Well, so, Ron from Jackson doesn't want to. I don't know if he has a compost pile, but he is on the line and he wants to talk about his holly trees this morning.
Okay, good morning, Ron. What's up with your hollies?
Not a whole lot. I was curious. I noticed the sparrows are tearing those berries up, and I think this holly tree is a native. And I was wondering if there's a more modern type or some grown somewhere else that would do better for the birds.
What kind of hollies are they again?
Yeah, just a red berry holly tree.
Well, so you want to add a new type of holly out there, or in addition, once you've got to replace them, or what?
Right. Just add a new one.
Well, I've got some favorite hollies. One, and this is a little bit unusual. We have a native holly that's deciduous. It drops its leaves in the wintertime. A lot of times you'll see them if you drive along the interstate or highways, they'll be along fence rows. In the wintertime, it's just big stems full of red berries, no leaves at all. But that's kind of interesting. But and I like our native Yaupon holly, Yaupon. Not a real lustrous looking holly. It's sort of a medium. It's just a generic looking bush, but it's really good for a little contrast because it's got small kind of gray green leaves and it stands out well against other hollies. But if I had to have a favorite holly that I think is just durable throughout the state, no care at all, pretty all year long, it's a hybrid holly. It's been around for a long time called Foster holly. Foster holly, when it's completely mature, it's more like kind of like a Christmas tree or a cedar tree. It's mostly straight stem and wider at the bottom, smaller at the top. It's kind of a Christmas tree shape. It's got long, dark green leaves, and it is loaded with berries. And it's so tough that Java, you and I have seen planted old plants, probably 40, 50 years old, planted little squares cut out of sidewalks in downtown Clarksdale in the Delta. And if it can grow in that Delta clay in downtown Clarksdale, all summer, all winter, no care, that's a tough. But anyway, it's called Foster holly.
I appreciate it, Felder. Every day.
Okay, dang, I appreciate it. Good luck on it. Java, you're gonna have to let me know. We got to work out a system. Let me know when we got callers. But otherwise, I can just yap about stuff.
Let me direct you, because if I try to send messages through the Zoom, then that's an extra button for you to push.
Oh no, we're not doing that.
Let's go.
I tell you what you could do. You could text me. I got my thing here. Hang on a second.
Well, while you pull. Oh, you got your phone? Okay.
Anytime.
I'll text your phone, but let's go to Jason in Gulfport.
Morning, Jason. What's up on the coast?
Well, it's a little cloudy, probably going to rain, but it's not so hot yet, so that's a good thing. got my yard guy out here working, but
what can I help you with?
I've got a bunch of shishi sasanquas going up the drive to my garage, and sort of on one end of the row of plants, there's some scale, and it's hard scale. You can't really can't really peel it off. It's dark brown, almost dark, New Orleans coffee colored on the underside of the leaf, and then of course on the upside of the leaf, you can tell the leaf's getting damaged. So a couple of questions. I know that the usual insecticides, they don't work on hard scale.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, I've got some agricultural oil. I used to have a yard or a service, and they'd spray this stuff called ultra pure oil, which is 98% sunflower oil.
Yeah, horticultural oil, right.
Yeah, I got some of that left, but I'm concerned about putting it on these plants in hot weather. I've read about it. It says, don't use it if it's going to get over 90, and that's just almost every day till October now.
Right.
And then the other thing is there's something called Safari that I've read about, and I can't remember the technical name of the insecticide, and I guess that's a systemic one. I guess the imidacloprid or whatever it is doesn't work for hard scale. So what's your thoughts on this hard problem with hard scale?
Yeah. Well, first of all, scale usually won't kill a camellia. I've got one in the old home place up in the Delta that my great grandmother planted before I was born, and it has bad scale every year, but it blooms perfectly well, and the new growth looks pretty really good. But if you want to control it, first of all, the horticultural oil does work, but it works best if you apply it in the late winter for two reasons. First of all, it can burn plants. Mid-80s, it can burn plants, and you want to get it mostly on the bottom of the leaves. And it does a pretty good job, but the way it works is as a young scale hatch out in the spring, this sort of covers them and suffocates them. So it's best to apply that oil in the when it's not going to be freezing. Not that you have to really worry about that on the coast, but anytime it's above freezing in mid to late winter. But on the other hand, and I'd have to be looking at the word to pronounce it. I can pronounce it when I look at it. The systemic stuff, like what they use for crepe myrtles, it works perfectly fine. And luckily, camellias are not heavily visited by pollinators. There's not a whole lot that feeds on that other beneficial insects are going to be on. So if you want to put a little bit of it around this month, late March, April, May, early June, while the plants are still absorbing stuff from the ground, it'll work pretty good. It works really, really well. You don't have to overdo it, though. But the systemic insecticides on hard scale are nearly always going to be the most effective. Only time I try to avoid recommending it is on plants that have flowers that attract a lot of pollinators, because it can damage them too. But anyway, that's going to be your best bet. Too late to use a horticultural oil, not too late to put some of the systemic out.
But what I was reading was that for soft scale, that imidacloprid is supposed to work, but it says hard scale.
It works on hard scale too. It works on hard scale. It works great.
Okay. Well, then I'll trust your experience rather than Dr. Internet, So. Well,
this is the same stuff we recommend for scale on camellias, and those are hard scale. I mean, crepe myrtles, they're hard scale. It works pretty, and they work on other like Japanese magnolias to get those big bumpy scales. But it works fine. The trick is put it down, water it in really good early in the season while the plants are still pulling stuff up from the roots out to the leaves, and it should work. Now, one of the problems with it on the hard scale insects can die, but the shells are still there, so it looks like it's not working. The idea is to keep them spreading to the new growth.
Is it okay to put it on azaleas? I got some soft scale on some azaleas as well.
Yes, and it also works on the spider mites and the azalea, what's that? The insect that feeds on the bottom, lace bug, that makes the top of azalea leaves look all stippled. It works pretty well. But again, because those plants don't attract a lot of pollinators, I think it's perfectly fine to use them. And they're safe otherwise.
And don't use it as a spray. Let it absorb through the root system.
Yeah, well, I don't know what kind you've got. If you've got, the kind I recommend is stuff you mix up with water and you pour it around the roots, and it's absorbed through the roots.
Okay. I've got plenty of that. I've been treating my magnolias with that. So.
Okay. No problem.
Well, I would
appreciate it.
Give it a try. Thank you so much.
You bet. Appreciate it. Oh, Java, I'm really, 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 really reluctant to recommend natural or synthetic insecticides, because even the natural ones can damage beneficial insects. The lacewings, the ladybugs and all their larvae and all those kind of things, and even hummingbirds, which eat little spiders and eat little aphids and stuff, they can be damaged by those. So I only recommend insecticides if you really, really need them, and then use them exactly according to directions, no stronger, and at the right season. So and only on what needs it, not all over the yard. So anyway, there's that.
All right, Felder, we're going to a break. We got Danny from Fulton on the line when we come back. So we'll see everybody on the other side.
We'll be right here. I'm horticulturalist Felder Rushing, me and Java Chapman, and Abram Nanny. We're glad you joined us. If you're on live stream, hey, how are you? If you're not, join us, won't you? We'll be right back with more of the Gestalt Gardener here on Mississippi Public Broadcasting right after this.
At the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience in Meridian, we believe in the power of the arts, storytelling, and education, just like Mississippi Public Broadcasting. MPB connects communities across the state with quality programs that inform, inspire, and engage. Their audience is loyal and appreciative of businesses that support public broadcasting. which makes underwriting on MPB a smart investment. Join us in supporting MPB. Learn more at mpbfoundation.org.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Hatred destroys the one who hates. The others that you hated go on about their business. Care of us.
So the legacy of Medgar Evers is an understanding of our own humanity and of our own responsibility of seeing that in other people.
He is written out of history. He's just not included as Malcolm and Martin. To me, it's the 3 M's, and Medgar is right up there at the lead.
Everlasting, Life and Legacy of Medgar Evers. Watch now on MPB Passport. Visit mpbonline.org for more.
Folks, welcome back again. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing. Before we go to this call, Java, I'd like you able to put up picture number 2, if you would, because this is the critter I found when I was just digging around in my compost pile. And tell me when it's up there. It's I've shown this before.
Yeah,
I just found several of these last week.
You just scared a bunch of people on the live stream. They just jump.
It's a roach.
They just jump
but
back.
It ain't a big old. It's not one of those big old cockroaches. It's not the kind that get in your house or fly at you. This one is probably just an inch long. It's a real small thing. And normally they're almost dark, shiny black. Their thorax, a big part up near the head, is bright red. They got a yellow stripe around them. Tiny little thing. They move fast. They only live in dark, damp, leafy type stuff. Compost. Maybe if you've got a real thick grass, you'll find them. But this is called a field roach, F-I-E-L-D. Field roaches are small. They're fast. I mean, they're so small. They don't even count as roaches. But it just don't show there's a lot of really interesting critters out there that are similar to things that bother us. But they not only don't bother us, but they're beneficial. So anyway, tiny little field roach, black with a bright red thorax, always found in compost and stuff like that. They eat decaying leaves and grass clippings. So but this is what a lot of other things like birds and frogs eat. So it's part of the food chain. So anyway, let's go down. Let's go up to Fulton and talk with Danny. Good morning, Danny. How are you?
Morning, Felder. How you doing?
So far, so good. Not so bad.
My blueberry bushes, I'm not getting much fruit off of them yet, and a lot of the green berries are falling like crazy underneath it by the hundreds.
Yeah.
What's wrong?
How old are these bushes? Been out there a while?
Yeah, they're good 20 years old. They're about 6-8 foot tall, 8-9 foot tall maybe.
Well, the two things that I'm seeing, and I've talked with some other horticulture about this because I'm seeing quite a bit of it on the Mississippi Gardening Facebook page, and it happened to the ones I planted for my granddaughter too. Whether they're young plants or old plants, the developing fruit, when it starts developing pretty rapid, it's a little tender. First of all, we did have a late freeze, and that got a lot of blueberries, a whole lot of blueberries. But the fact that you had them forming, it could be that they're at a size where they need to be making seeds in there. And if the fruit stop making a seed, it'll abort. It'll just shed. We see this a lot of times when there's not good pollination. And it could be that your plants just did not get good pollination. Could have been raining a lot, the time when they were blooming. Or it could just be that because of this hot, dry weather we had a couple of weeks ago, coupled with all this rain, might just be overwhelming. This is affecting tomatoes too. So berries, whether it's a blueberry or a tomato or pepper, there's pretty dependent on steady temperatures, steady weather. So if they're all doing this in their mature plants, I suspect it's had to do with late freeze or lack of bees pollinating and their fruits are just aborting, or just a combination of back-to-back hot, dry, followed by way, way too rainy. Both of those will cause that. Okay.
Is there any fertilizer I could use on them to help them, or?
No, well, blueberries, we know people who don't ever fertilize anything. They don't fertilize anything. Their shrubs, their hedges, nothing. Their lawns, and they get by. We also know people who fertilize all the time, and that's worse than no fertilizer at all. But blueberries, like other fruiting shrubs, really ought to have a little fertilizer at least every 3 or 4 years. 2 or 3 years would be great. More than once a year, no. But if you'll get any kind of azalea type fertilizer, azalea camellia fertilizer, got the right ratio for blueberries, and it's acidic, and just put a scant handful, just lightly put some under the outer spread of the branches. One thing that'll help a lot though, Danny, what fruit you do get should be harvested by the end of this month, first part of July, is go ahead and prune the plants back. Commercial blueberry growers cut their plants after they harvest back to about chest high. And I've got a neighbor, Don Potts, who does this, and it cuts off a lot of the new growth for this year, but it sets the plants back and makes them put out a lot of stronger, healthier new growth lower down. As long as you prune them sometime by, let's say, the middle of July or so, they'll put out a lot of new growth that'll be more vigorous and probably have more, better able to carry its fruit next year. So pruning after harvest never comes amiss with blueberries or blackberries.
Okay. Would 10 be all right, or is that too strong, or what?
10 and 13, those kind of agriculture fertilizers, the ratio of nutrients is fine. The problem is those have got a type of nitrogen called ammonium nitrate. The ammonium nitrate is real fast, it's real strong, and then it's gone. The plants would rather have something that's long, slower, gentler, steadier. If you go to a co-op and have any kind of, they sell this, and garden centers also have fertilizer that have urea, U-R-E-A. Urea is considered a natural fertilizer, but most important, it's long, slow, gentle, steady feeding. Ammonium nitrate, real harsh. To me, I compare it, it's like cocaine to plants. It makes them go crazy, and then it's gone. So I do look for something that's got a little bit of urea in it. And you could use the triple 13, triple 10, but also get just a little bit of urea. It only takes, I'll give you an idea, it only takes 2 pounds to 1,000 square feet. That's the maximum recommended. You know, that's not even a tablespoon per plant. So, but urea is a lot longer, steadier, gentler on the plants.
Okay. All right. Also, I got a plum tree I just planted here, and I got these little beetles on it. That 7 liquid, is that any good?
What are the beetles feeding on, the leaves or what?
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to eat up the leaves, or eat out the green of the leaves and leaving the skeleton of it.
Yeah, there's several beetles do like that. One, oddly enough, the official name is skeletonizer. That's what it does. For the most part, these are going to be temporary. They're not all season long. And if the plants have got any new growth on them, usually it'll overcome the damage. You can overlook a lot of it. If you wanted to spray, though, Liquid 7 would do a pretty good job. Make sure you get on the underside of the leaves, but Liquid 7 gets better coverage than 7 Dust is almost worthless. You know, people put 7 Dust out there, make the garden look like it got snow. Most of the insects on the bottom of the leaves. So if you use Liquid 7, if you want to spray it, put about a teaspoon or half a teaspoon of liquid dish detergent in each gallon of spray. That helps it spread out and stick on the slick bottom of the leaf a little bit better.
Oh, good deal. Didn't know that. All right.
Yeah. If you can live with them, I just live with them. I mean, they're not going to kill your tree. And if you step back about 20 feet, take your glasses off, they're not even there, because there's lots of things that actually eat those beetles. So, if you can live with it, I would.
All right, then. I do appreciate it.
Okay. Appreciate your call. Thank you. Charlie, you got a cheesy tune, but can I show a couple of pictures first?
Yeah, go ahead. We got about 2 minutes.
Oh, wait, we got any other caller on the line?
No, not yet. But we do have some YouTube stuff, but we can do that after the cheesy tune. Okay,
if I could get Abram to put up picture number 3. Before I left, I harvested my potatoes, and it was not good. The garlic I brought in last week, Java, my Jeep still smells like garlic from just carrying it to the studio and back.
Nah, that was some strong stuff.
Yep. Well, the potatoes I dug, not a real good harvest, because I think I gave them too much fertilizer. I don't take my own advice. I had great plants, but anyway,
that's a nice looking potato.
And my smallest.
Yeah, I was wondering, was that like an extra stem on that potato? But it's the smallest one.
the potatoes grow little stems off the lower parts of the plant. Anyway, so that's what, almost the size of a grape.
A grape potato. You may have came up with something new.
Oh yeah, well I wish, but the other ones were big old lumpy things, like the one as big as my fist. But when I got back to England this other day, I had found a potato that was shaped like a heart. I'm holding it. Can you see? It looks like a heart.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, it's a purple potato. Purple skin. It's got purple flesh in it. But because it's been on its own for about 3 years, it's sprouted. Look at these sprouts on the top of it. Is that weird or what?
That gives it an extra little dimension.
Yep, and little horns on it. But what I'm gonna do, because it's gonna get soft, I can't eat it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut the two shoulders that have the sprouts bit on them, and I'm gonna plant those. You can plant potatoes in the summertime in England because it doesn't get too hot. So anyway, I'm gonna cut these back that are already sprouted, and I'm just gonna let the cut parts heal over for a couple of days. I'm gonna put them in a pot and see if I have a better shot of growing purple potatoes in England than I do red potatoes in Mississippi. I just want to brag on that. My little purple potato sprouted, looks like horns or wings or something.
Now you're getting experimental.
Yeah. Well, as long as I don't have to actually produce something you can eat, I do pretty good. So anyway, I sent a couple of cheesy tunes. You can play one and let's take a break or what?
Yeah, I don't know which one you want me to go with. You did send two, so you let me know. DJ Felder.
Zippity Doodah one, because I just feel kind of zippy right now.
All right, we can get to it, man. Take us to break.
Hey, folks, and if you can't hear this because you're not on live stream, if you listen to it later on the rebroadcast on the podcast, which we appreciate, you can't hear this, but it's that old Zippity Doodah tune from Disney. If you want to really get a bad earworm you can't get rid of the rest of the day, go online and just Google Zippity Doodah, and it'll mess you up the rest of the day. I'm horticulturalist Felder Rushing, and me and Job and all the folks at MPB, we thank you for joining us. We're going to take a little short break and come back with your calls about your gardening right after this. Stick with us.
Together through the years, together in the future. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bobby Rush. As a blues man, I love Mississippi Public Broadcasting. If you support Mississippi music and their local programming, donate now, right now, and become a member today, not tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Doesn't matter how big or small, but we prefer big. Thank you very much.
Mississippi is a place of deep roots where every story matters and every voice can be heard. At MPB, we stand with our local communities, bringing you the voices of those who shape our state through local programming that reflects our culture across small towns to big cities, from the Delta to the coast. We tell the stories that define us, from the music that carries our voices to the leaders who inspire change. MPB brings you the heart of Mississippi, celebrating Mississippi one story at a time. MPB, your stories, our mission.
The Measuring Show.
Since 1970, MPB has been enriching the lives of Mississippians.
Everything we do gives us the chance to grow and learn.
With your support, we are always there whenever and wherever you need us. Together through the years, together in the future. Please consider making a donation at mpbfoundation.org. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Welcome back. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing. I am not in Mississippi right now. I'm a full disclosure. I'm in a terrace house in northern England, Lancashire to be exact. If you're not sure about that, Java, some people, you know my wife Susan, she's from here, and her mother's 90, so we spend a lot of time over here. But we live in a terrace house, and Java, a lot of people don't know what those are. If you've ever seen Seinfeld, you know how the streets are just lined with buildings that goes up and down, and everybody, there's like some steps, and then a window, some steps and window. That's what those are called terrace houses. And I've got a little garden out back that's got a herb garden. We grow all of our culinary herbs, and most of them, and also a lot of different cacti and succulents, which I like because they're interesting. They provide a lot of texture and colors and surprising flowers, but also they don't need care for months at a time. I choose succulents that will take the cold weather all winter long with no care at all, including in Mississippi. These things will grow outside in Memphis or Tulsa, Oklahoma. Some of these will grow in cemeteries in Illinois, but also they go all summer without needing a bunch of rain. So anyway, I can show some of those, but we don't have any callers, do we?
Yeah, I was just about to text you. We do have one caller, Jim from Jackson.
Okay. Well, we'll look at these succulents and all later, but just something I'm really, really into. Hey, good morning, Jim. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Felder. Jim Rosenblatt here with a question about tomatoes.
Okay.
I was a little late getting my tomatoes planted this year, so I'm just now getting flowers and blossoms on them. Is there any form of artificial pollination that I could use to help them without having to rely on butterflies and bees?
Yeah, that's a good question. And luckily, tomatoes and peppers and beans and all, they don't need pollinator insects. You know, pollinators will get on a little bit, but their flowers are so small that the pollen and they're self-fertile. So just any kind of movement, air movement or whatever, will shake the pollen loose. What you could do is get you a little stick. Now, Jim, is this the garden you got up at the law school?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Well, the students, folks, we're talking to Dean Emeritus here. You're going to be out there doing what I'm about to tell you, and the student's going to think you're nuts. So just hold your head up high, Dean, and go on. But if you'll get you a nice little stick, kind of a semi-heavy stick, and just go and just tap. If these are on stakes or something, just tap the stakes really good, or gently tap on the stems of the plant. Anything that'll vibrate the plant and shake that pollen loose, that'll help. But just, not the flowers. You don't have to take paintbrushes or anything like that. You just need to vibrate or shake them or tap them so that the pollen falls more freely. Usually wind will do that. If you've had some wind, that'll usually do it. But tomatoes and peppers, even in greenhouses, Jim, they've got a special little handheld device that has these little prongs, and they hold it up to the supports of the tomatoes, and it vibrates really, really fast. They have to shake the pollen loose. That's all it needs.
So I could grab the plant by the stem and shake it gently?
It'd be better if you could tap it, something more forceful than shake it. If you get a little stick or something and just tap it bigger. You want to jar it a little bit, like trying to shake something loose in it. Sort of like you're trying to get salt out of a salt shaker that's a little bit clogged up. You got to shake it pretty good. So I would get some kind of a stick and go around tapping, and that way it doesn't look like you're trying to throttle your plants out there.
Well, what I'll do is I'll go out at night so no one can see me because I don't want them talking about me.
No. The police will come after you then, okay? I mean, there's unhoused people in that neck of the woods late at night. You don't want to be out there messing with tomatoes. Dean, come on. Good luck on it.
I think Jim, he took your advice and ran.
I guess so. I know this sounds kind of weird, but it's true. Now, Java, I've seen a lot of people are having trouble with their squash, not just the squash vine borers and the powdery mildew and all like that, but they'll have squash that starts to form, then it shrivels up and falls off. Have you and Crystal noticed anything about flower or little small? I know y'all grow cucumbers.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say. We don't have any squash.
Okay, but you got cucumbers.
Yeah, we got cucumbers, no squash.
Cucumbers and squash and melons have separate male and female flowers on the same plant. Tomatoes and peppers, well, one flower will do it, but separate male and female. And if you're out there when they're blooming, take a look at these. The female flowers will be on the end of what looks like a tiny little cucumber or squash. There's a little yellow flower on the end of what looks like a small fruit. The males are on the same looking flower, but it's on the end of what looks like just a stem. And if you don't have a lot of bee activity out there, you got a pretty high wall around your backyard. If you don't have a lot of bees, she may want to, and this is just something else for Crystal to do, but I notice how she pays attention in her garden. Break off one of the male flowers with a little stem, peel the petals off. It got what looks like a tiny little mascara brush of pollen, and on an open female flower that's on the end of a little cucumber, just dab some of that around that little curly thing in there, and she can hand pollinate her cucumbers. It works on squash. If you don't have a lot of bees, cucumbers and squash won't make fruit. You got to get pollen from the male to the female, either by bees or doing it yourself.
There may be something we do because we have made mention to each other about not seeing a lot of bees in our first iteration of the garden. Like, last year, 2 years ago, we did have bees in the backyard, but I don't know. It's different this year.
Yeah. Well, again, separate male and female cucumbers, separate male and female squash. And anyway, it just, you and Crystal both have got in their way, stressful jobs, and cooking for the kids. I saw that mountain of clothes y'all have to go through all the time. Sometimes going out there and hand pollinating the cucumbers is a little quality time with you and your sweetheart. Now,
that's true. But also, it's funny you brought that up because now we have some squash talk in the YouTube chat, and maybe you just spoke to this. We got Teresa saying, "Good morning, my squash are blooming, but no vegetables. Ooh, what am I doing wrong?"
I wish I could say I was being prescient about that, but it's a lot of questions. If you don't have a lot of bees or any bees, you're not going to get squash or cucumbers. But also early in the season, particularly if we have a lot of rain like we've had, or maybe a little bit too much fertilizer, sometimes the plants have more male flowers than female. They have to have male and female at the same time, open at the same time. They open in the morning. So, Teresa, I go out and look, and again, the female squash flowers are on the end of what looks like a little squash. The males are on the end of just a plain, simple stem, and you can break that male off, peel the petals off, and use that like a little pollen brush and hand pollinate inside the open female flower, and that will work. I will mention this, even if it doesn't happen, squash blossoms and immature fruits are perfectly edible to eat. I think last week, Job, I showed a picture of a farmer's market that I saw in California where they're selling squash flowers that are on a tiny little squash.
Yeah, I do remember that from last week.
$12 a pound.
They knew their worth.
Yeah. So Teresa, if you can't, I don't know, just try eating some of them. Stuff them. You can stuff squash flowers.
Yeah, we did have that. Man, I wish I could pull back up that YouTube chat because one of our regulars in there, I can't remember who, but it was either Margie or somebody.
Timothy?
Yeah.
You met Timothy last week, by the way.
I did. Told us about stuffing the squash flowers. But we do have, we're coming up, we got about 10 more minutes in this first hour of the Gestalt Gardener. Can we do a couple YouTube questions?
Sure, heck yeah.
All right, let's see. We have, Susan says, "Good morning, y'all. Northwest Florida gardening here. I'm using a few Distilleum shrubs." Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Distilleum shrubs, roots like a really tough cocoa mat, sawing off bottom and sides, tearing it up. Is that the best approach?
What? To root them? I didn't. Do you want to root them or get rid of them or what?
Let's see, because I read it as it is. Let's see, I'm using a few Distilleum shrubs, roots like a really tough cocoa mat. Oh, should I saw off the bottom and sides? I guess is that the best approach to root them? Yeah, maybe that's what she's saying.
I would take. Yeah. Well, they can spread a little bit like that, but what I would do would just root some stem cuttings. They root really, really easy. Stem cuttings are just real easy to root.
Okay.
if she'll take short cuttings, just like with hollies and azaleas and other evergreens, if you let the new growth come out and kind of toughen up a little bit, not old woody stems like from last year, not the real tender floppy stuff at the very end. But if you'll take stuff that sprouted this year and get the stuff that's what they call semi-hardwood, not real tender or floppy, strip off all but 2 or 3 leaves, the short cuttings of those should root pretty quickly.
All right, let's see. Sherry asks, if my blueberry put out 2 crops per season, should I prune after the first harvest or second harvest? And if my blueberry plant is 12 years old, should I replace it soon?
Okay, now I was busy focusing on the second question, which I got, but I forgot what plant she was talking about the first one.
It's the same blueberry plant.
Oh, blueberry. Yeah. A blueberry, you can have a blueberry that is ancient, still produces. Usually blueberries send up suckers from the ground, basically replacement plants. And the old ones can live for a long, long, long time. 12 years is pretty old, but as long as they've got healthy new growth on them, the only thing I would do would be to prune them. You can prune blueberries just like you can azaleas down to a couple of 3 feet tall, but it's going to take them a while for the new growth to come out. And it's really important to tip prune that new growth so it doesn't shoot up overhead. But if you'll take some of the stems of the blueberry and cut them back, and then by the middle of July, another 6 or 7 weeks or so, just snip the very tip end off of that growth. They'll branch out and have berries next year. But pruning is hard like this. It's called rejuvenation pruning. That's what it's officially called by horticulturists. And rejuvenation pruning, just cut them way back, let them start all over again. But again, if you don't come back and snip the tips off that new growth, it'll shoot up overhead, and you'll have nothing but a few berries way up at the top. So hard pruning immediately after harvest, tip pruning sometime in July, and you should have a pretty good crop on a compact plant next year.
So if she's getting 2 crops per season, should she just prune after that second harvest?
Yeah, it's kind of unusual to get 2 crops on blueberries. Matter of fact, it's very unusual. So I don't know how to answer that. What you might want to do is if you've got more than one bush, prune one of them and then let the other one mature and then cut it back. In other words, you don't have to cut them all at once. You don't have to cut the whole plants back. You cut part of each plant back and leave part of it until after harvest. So you don't have to cut everything all at once.
Okay. Now, we do have a question from one of our regulars, Rita, in Olive Branch. Good morning, Felder and Java. Felder, can you give me a name of fertilizer? Well, we don't do names, but a type of fertilizer for my shrubs. I have a few. They are all different.
Yeah, you don't need a name. And by the way, brands of fertilizer, Java, is like brands of ketchup. Doesn't matter if it's this brand or that brand or some other, or Coca-Cola and Pepsi. They're sugary drinks. So most fertilizers are going to be, doesn't matter what company it is, they're just branding. Look for something where the numbers are about the same. They have 3 numbers on it, first, second, third number, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. If you put something with all 3 numbers about the same, every 3 or 4 years, that gives plenty of the phosphorus and potash, the second, third number. And on the in-between years, use something with just a little bit higher first number of nitrogen. So look at the numbers, shoot for something where they're all about the same. A little bit higher this one, a little bit higher that one, but use a good quality one that's got urea fertilizer instead of just ammonium nitrate. In other words, don't use 13, 888. They're okay fertilizers if you're a cotton farmer or if you're growing, corn or something. But for shrubs, we want a long, slow, gentle thing. So any kind of all-purpose tree and shrub food will work perfectly fine. Vegetable fertilizer work fine.
Now, for those uninitiated, you're saying every fertilizer, and they have those 3 numbers that you should be looking for instead of, everybody's looking for the bright packaging and the brand name that they know.
Yeah. No, it's just like ketchup. I compare to ketchup because I remember one advertiser is it runs slower than others. I don't as long as it comes out of the bottle, I don't care how it runs. I don't want to run down my elbows. But as long as those 3 numbers are about the same. There are some fertilizers, Java, and this is where horticulture comes in, soil science does. You can choose one that's just got just one of those numbers. Bone meal, for example, 0-11-0. It got no nitrogen, no potash, but it's got 11% phosphorus, which is good for flowering and fruiting plants, but they also need the nitrogen and the potassium. So as long as those numbers are pretty close to the same, I would use it every 2 or 3 or 4 years and want a little bit higher first number, nitrogen, because that doesn't last very long. Most fertilizer, most of the ingredients last for years and years. Nitrogen washes away pretty quick. So any all-purpose fertilizer every 3 or 4 years. If you want to fertilize again, look for something a little bit higher first number. That's for green growth, and it doesn't last very long. And by the way, Java, this applies whether it's synthetic or natural. I mean, cottonseed meal, the numbers are 7-2-2. Manure is 1-2-1. See, so you just have to use more manure than you would some of the higher numbers. But manure is a perfectly good fertilizer. It just takes about 100 pounds of it.
If you can believe it, Felder, we're done with hour number 1. We got hour number 2 coming up.
Okay. Oh, one last thing before we break this up. There's a fertilizer out there called Mill Organite. I'm going to use a brand name. It is a great fertilizer. But you know what? If you read the label, it says, a proud product of the people of Milwaukee. It's human composted manure.
Oh, Lord.
And people use it all the time, Java. I don't think I'd wash my hands after playing with it. Anyway, I'm a horticulturalist, Felder Rushing, Java Chapman, Abram Nanny, all the other folks at MPB. We're glad you joined us. I got some fun stuff to share this second hour, so go take a break, get you a cup of coffee, walk out the yard, see if there's any male and female flowers on the squash, and come back. We're going to do some news and some weather. We're going to come back with more of the Gestalt Gardener here on MPB, folks, right after this. Hey, my antihistamines and coffee are kicking in. I'm excited to have another hour of this.
At the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience in Meridian, we believe in the power of the arts, storytelling, and education, just like Mississippi Public Broadcasting. MPB connects communities across the state with quality programs that inform, inspire, and engage. Their audience is loyal and appreciative of businesses that support public broadcasting, which makes underwriting on MPB a smart investment. Join us in supporting MPB. Learn more at mpbfoundation.org.
Okay, folks, welcome back. Hour 2 of the Gestalt Gardener here on Mississippi Public Broadcasting. My awesome producer, Java Chapman, and I welcome you. And if you watch it on YouTube or on mpbonline.org on the live stream, you can see the pictures of stuff we're talking about. Now, Java, I don't know if you know, but my background screen here, I'm not out in the garden anywhere. This is a picture I took last week of a garden in Jackson where along the street they've got it's a fence, a wall garden. And to hide the wall, they put all these different kind of shrubs along the outside of the fence. Instead of one solid hedge, like most people put, all ligustrum or all this or all that, and all little magnolias. This guy named Rick Griffin, who we've had him on our program, he mixes stuff up, tall stuff, big stuff, medium, large to medium shrubs, small trees. He mixes them all up in a combination that looks good all year. This burgundy stuff and spiky stuff. Sometimes they bloom like some crepe myrtles and later some magnolias. But he mixes up 4, 5, or 6 or 7 different kinds of large shrubs, small trees, and he plants them in a row, kind of close together, and then it repeats that combination all the way down the fence. So it's a real effective way. Instead of having one solid hedge, like a lot of people have of the same plant, every now and then throw something else different in there. And if you feel bold, put 4, 5, 3, 6 different kinds out there. It looks good. It still has the effect of a hedge, but it doesn't have to be pruned all the time. And because you have flowers on some, sometimes berries on some, it's a really good pollinator garden. This is the Chelsea Flower Show, which was down in London just last week. Featured it this year. It's called a tredge, a tree hedge, where you mix small trees and big hedges together. Real effective. Anyway, have we got any callers on the line?
No callers, but we did get an email to the email address garden@mpbonline.org, and it's kind of a plant identification. You want to give it a go?
Sure, heck yeah. Stuff, and Joe, I don't mind not knowing stuff in case people wonder about that, because usually somebody will help us out.
Yeah,
so
well,
what we got here?
Well, look at your screen and see. This came from Larry. I'm not sure from where Larry's from, but he sent the email to garden@mpbonline.org, and he asked the question: what is this pretty wildflower that's growing along the roadside? What is this pretty wildflower growing along the roadside?
I got this one nailed. It is pretty. It's big, though. If you want to put it in your yard, it's going to get big. And this is actually a native plant, dies down on the ground, comes back up every year. It gets pretty big. We're talking about 8, 10 feet sometimes. It's at least 6 to 8 feet. It'll grow in low wet areas. It'll grow in heavy clay. It doesn't need much care. But this is the native elderberry. We have a lot of different kinds of elderberries. The elderberry trees, which are woody plants, they don't grow as well this far south. But this is elderberry. I can't remember the Latin name, but it starts with the S-A-M-B. That's all I know. But the flowers are edible. Right now you have these big flat clusters of white flowers, which you can cut off, wash them, and get rid of the little aphids and stuff. And you can dip them in pancake batter, and you can fritter them. You can just fry them, or just any kind of flower. But you can fry the flowers and eat them. But if you leave them alone, every one of those flowers is going to be replaced by a little small, dark purple berry, almost black berries. And of course, you can make elderberry juice, elderberry jam, elderberry wine, elderberry. It's just a terrific native edible plant. The flowers are edible, the fruits are edible. And some people confuse it, by the way, Java, with another plant out there called pokeweed or pokeberry. Its flowers hang down in a chain. So, but this is elderberry, perfectly edible. Can we show a picture that I sent earlier of a cultivated kind?
Yeah, I just was able to get it if Abram would be so kind and look in the folder.
Elderberry is a terrific plant. If you want to see one up close, we have one at the back of the herb garden at the Agriculture Museum in Jackson. But anyway, elderberry is a great native plant. It does die down the ground in most of Mississippi. It comes back up. Yeah, here we go. This is called the black elderberry. It looks like the other elderberry, but the leaves are dark burgundy maroon, and the flowers are a little bit pinkish. But this is another elderberry that not only it's a great ornamental plant, but you can eat it. So elderberry is one of those overlooked plants. They don't sell them in garden centers because the common one, again, is a great big herbaceous plant that dies down in the wintertime. But it's a great one. If you're going to try to collect some for the wild, you have to wear your boots because it's usually down in low wet areas where the mowers can't reach.
Yeah, elderberry is really, versatile, because I know, especially during the winter months when it's time to take your kind of immune boosters, we will kind of do some elderberry syrup, to try to boost your immunity and health benefits and stuff like that.
It's got because most of the plants have dark berries. They've got a lot of, is it anthocyanins or something like that? I can't remember the word. Anyway, they're really good at we need a medical person here. It boosts your immune system, whatever that's called.
There you go.
I don't know that stuff. Anyway, I'm glad it ain't a medical program right now because I'm not a doctor. I will say this, Java, there are some plants out there that are attractive that people can mistake for other things. Classic example, right now there's a lot of Queen Anne's lace blooming. Queen Anne's lace is a wild carrot, and it comes up from the ground. It's got these flat clusters, kind of rounded flat clusters of white flowers. It's edible. But there's another plant out there blooming right now also, and it's a deadly poisonous plant. It's called, what was it they poisoned Aristotle? They made him eat to kill himself. I'm drawing a total blank. Anyway, there's a deadly poisonous plant out there that looks like Queen Anne's lace, so know your plants. I'm just drawing a total blank. Somebody call up and help me out here.
Well, I'm looking it up, and
it looks a lot like Queen Anne's lace, except it's more upright plant with stems with smaller clusters of flowers.
Is it poison hemlock? Was it him?
I can't.
Was
I
it
can't
him?
remember the name of the
Was it
poison.
hemlock? No. Okay. Somebody help us out in the chat.
Yeah. Well, either that or give us a call, toll free 1-877-MPB ring. So, Java, I don't know how you do it. You handle how many programs, live, local programs, does MPB host?
Well, we do three a day. Southern Remedy every Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock, and then we have our other shows from 3 to 4, Monday through Thursday. We bring you in the mornings, and we also do the blend Monday through Thursday in the morning. So a lot.
By the way,
just say a lot.
You and I were at a party last week that our friend Rick Griffin, who we interviewed several weeks ago, really close friend of mine, Rick Griffin, landscape architect, he hosted a party for me and Susan, and we got to invite just people that we like, which I shouldn't say, because there's a lot of folks, we didn't have room for everybody, but you and Chris showed up at it, and I noticed that you and Chris were looking at some of the oddball stuff he had going on in his yard.
Oh,
so
I told Rick if I could gobble up his garden and go take it with me, I would have. It was just that nice.
Let me show 3 pictures from his garden, and one is picture number 19. He has his garden is not really big, but it's plenty big, bigger than mine. But he has different rooms. But going up the steps to his back deck, he's got these steps made out of broken up concrete, and they're lined with all these potted plants. He just mixes stuff up. He doesn't have a pot with one flower in it. Every pot he's got at least 2 or 3, sometimes 4 different flowers in it. And it's just amazing going up there. But I had told you before about a flower pot in his garden made out of a tractor tire. I got a picture of it, picture number 20. He has a whole, he took a tractor tire and he spray painted kind of a copper color. And then he put another regular tire plant in the middle of it and he used it as a plant. And nobody recognizes it as a tire because it's spray painted copper. But one of my favorites, and put this on picture number 21, he had railings for his fence made out of rebar, not just straight, but bent pieces like twigs. And he put glass bottles on it. Instead of a bottle tree, he's got a bottle porch rail.
But he did have a bottle tree back there as well now.
Well, yeah, he has a big bottle tree. And what's really ironic is, as we know, he lives in a really upscale neighborhood and they don't have a clue what's in his backyard. So you can do whatever you want to in your own backyard.
That is
true.
Got
a caller? Do we have a caller yet?
Yeah, we got 2 calls, and let's go ahead and take them. Let's
okay, because I want to show a couple of pictures from your yard. I swung by, spent a little time with Crystal in her garden. But who we got on the line?
Let's go to Tennessee, Cordova, Tennessee, and talk to Cindy.
Hey, Cindy. Good morning. What's going on in East Memphis?
It's nice outside. I'm cutting back daffodil foliage, which has finally died. But a question: there was a call in a couple of weeks ago about a guy cutting back his fiddle leaf fig because it had gotten too tall, and you said they're very easy to root, that cutting. So I have one that I have cut back once, and now I need to cut it back again. So what's the recommended way to root that cutting?
Okay, fiddle leaf fig, like rubber tree, like fig, almost anything. The parts that root, it takes a little bit longer because they got such big leaves. If you don't cut most of the leaves off the cutting, they're going to suck the stem dry before it can grow roots. So cut off all but 1 or 2 or maybe 3 of the leaves, and then do this: cut the leaves half off. Instead of, let's say they're a foot long, cut them where they're 6 inches long. All you need is some green, not the whole leaf, but if you'll cut the leaves back, they'll still be able to get energy to send down to make roots without so much leaf surface that it sucks the cutting dry. So if you take cuttings from near the tip end, not the old woody stuff, the stuff that maybe that sprouted this year, and make those cuttings a foot and a half or so long, and put them in some moist potting soil, not wet, but moist, and keep it moist. What might help a lot if you'll put a plastic bag over them to keep the humidity, like a miniature greenhouse, and just put it outside where it's warm and not in the direct sunshine because it'll overheat. But if you put it, on the porch or under a tree or something where it gets plenty of bright indirect light, and cover it with a plastic bag for a couple, 3 or 4 weeks, and then just water it as needed. Keep it moist but not wet. They should root pretty quick.
Okay. All right. I've got a good bit I've got to cut off, so I could probably make 2 cuttings, right?
You could. If it's this year's growth, whatever grew this year will root better than the old woody, barky stuff from last year.
Gotcha.
So, towards the end it would be better.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Oh, no. I want to ask you a question. I had recommended cutting it back and it'll sprout back out. And you say you've done it and it worked?
Oh, yes.
Okay. I just want to let people know I'm not making this stuff up.
Right. Oh, it came back pretty quick. I've got 8-foot ceilings, and I've had to cut it. This will be the second time I've had to cut it back within 2 years. I think I cut it year before last.
When you cut it back, does the cut back, does it make 1 new stem or does it make 2?
2.
Okay. See, that's the reason I tell people, I have a rubber tree named Big Jim I've had since 1975. Do the math. And of course, rubber trees, you could build a tree house in them in the tropics or even in Florida. But I have to cut mine back all the time, or else it just gets too big. So I have a rubber bush, not a rubber tree. People are just afraid to cut their plants, and they should be afraid. These plants don't mind it at all. But anyway, thanks for the seconding of my advice.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Appreciate it. Go back outside. I just challenged my mother, Java. My mother used to say, "You children, go out, play in the street. Don't come back till the street lights come on."
Yeah, that's a different type of thing. I saw a post on social media. We're going to go to a break. We do have some calls lined up and some YouTube questions, but it's time for a break. I saw a post on social media about these kids are doing summer wrong because summer used to just be outside until the streetlights came on. Like that was summer.
Yep, go play in the street was what my dad used to say. Of course, we can't say that anymore, but just raising our kids the best we can. I hope they don't hate us when they grow up.
Amen.
I'm horticulturalist Felder Rushing. Java and I are going to take a quick break. We got a tune coming up. I forgot what the tune is now.
We got time. That's after the next break.
Oh, that's okay. We can take a little short. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.
At the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience in Meridian, we believe in the power of the arts, storytelling, and education, just like Mississippi Public Broadcasting. MPB connects communities across the state with quality programs that inform, inspire, and engage. Their audience is loyal and appreciative of businesses that support public broadcasting, which makes underwriting on MPB a smart investment. Join us in supporting MPB. Learn more at mpbfoundation.org.
Hatred destroys the one who hates. The others that you hated, go on about their business. Care less.
So the legacy of Medgar Evers is an understanding of our own humanity and of our own responsibility of seeing that in other people.
He is written out of history. He's just not included as Malcolm and Martin. To me, it's the 3 M's, and Medgar's right up there at the lead.
Everlasting, Life and Legacy of Medgar Evers. Watch now on MPB Passport. Visit mpbonline.org for more.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Welcome back, Horticulturalist Felder Rushing. And Java, the point I'm trying to make earlier, all the different programs that y'all do, do you ever wish that we were more professional presenters? Because I'm not.
That's a no.
Okay.
We are right where we need to be.
Okay. Well, we got a couple of calls, and before we take the very first one, let me get Abram to put up picture number 10 real quick, because I try to talk about what goes on at pubs. Well, guys at my pub in Mississippi knew that I was going to my pub in England, so they brought me a little gift, and I just want to put up picture number 10 to show instead of talking, some people talk the talk, some people walk the walk. He brought me a tub full of cherry tomatoes that he grew. And so we have a bunch of old guys sitting around a pub eating cherry tomatoes and laughing and telling jokes. Just want to let folks who don't go to pubs know it ain't all that bad. Sometimes it's talking about maters. Anyway, let's see what Lewis is up to down in Hattiesburg. Lewis, thank you for calling. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine, and you?
So far, so good. What's up?
Well, about a month or so ago, my wife and I were out walking in the neighborhood, and we saw this little plant growing about a foot tall. And actually, there was about maybe 2 or 3 of them. and it was a little unusual. We hadn't seen it before. It was in an empty lot. So we come back, I don't know, a week or so later, and there's more of them. So we took a picture, looked it up, and it's called a lupine, and I've never heard you talk about those before. You may have. But we did some more studying about how to, make them grow and how to plant them. And you don't plant the plant. From what I read, you plant a dry seed. That pod has to be dry. You cut it open, and I guess plant them. I don't know what time of year. And my other question is, it seems to be invasive, because when we come back, even a couple of weeks later, there was hundreds of those things. So that's my question to you.
That's, you looked it up, it's definitely a lupin though, right? Because there's a lot of plants that look kind of like that. Lupin has first of all, we do have some native lupins, lupins. We have some, but usually I think of them as, well, you're kind of in the hilly part of the country, but I usually think of them in like hillsides and wildflower meadows. The ones that grow wild in England are like chest high, waist high. They're huge. But I'd love to see a picture of some of these, because having lupins just pop up means that somebody somehow some of the seeds had gotten there. A plant made it, and its seeds took it from there, and it spreads. But anyway, if you want to grow it, just keep an eye on the plant. Make sure nobody mows it, because if it's an abandoned lot, if it does get mowed, your master gardener may come by and dig them up. But you want to let the seeds dry in the pods, and then you can sow them in the late summer. Most of these plants grow really, really well. The plants grow over the winter time. They sprout in the fall, they grow over the winter time, then they bloom in the spring. So if you want to do that, save some seed to plant in late September, October, sometime in there. If you could, I'd like to see a picture of it, because I'm not questioning it, but I want to say I've seen lupins in Hattiesburg, because I've only seen them like up in October, up in the hillier part of the country. But anyway, the same with any kind of, even the milkweeds we have. A lot of people take milkweeds and Queen Anne's lace and try to dig them up and move them, and they don't move well at all. But they're real easy if you let the seeds mature on the plant. So anyway, that's if you want to try to propagate it. It sounds to me like you want to keep it away from your lawn, though, because it's going to take over.
Well, she did take a picture, and I will get her to send it to you, and you can tell me if that's a lupin or not.
Because I'm curious, if it grows that well, I want some. See, in Lewis, it's not just my yard. I'm what they call a guerrilla gardener. There's lots all around, bare places here and there. I like to just plant daffodils and wildflower seeds. When I walk around, sometimes I throw crimson clover all over the place. I'm that kind of guerrilla gardening, as in Guer.
Yeah.
Anyway, if it's like that, I want to get them. I want to infect Jackson with them. Infest.
Yeah, well, there is a master gardener that lives about 3 or 4 houses away from there, and this is about a mile from the house. So and we have a feeling that she may have strewn something out there, to make those things grow. That's just our opinion. I've never seen nothing like it.
Anyway, I want to see a picture of it, because if it grows that well, I'd like to get some started in different places. Even at the Agriculture Museum in Jackson, they've got some areas that are sort of wild. They do nothing but mow them. I'd like to get some wildflowers started here and there. It sounds like a good one.
Okay, we'll get it to you.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you. Okay, now let's slide up in the other direction. Let's go almost to Tennessee, to South Haven, and talk with Rebecca. Good morning, Rebecca. How are you?
I'm doing great, Felder. Got a question for you. Somebody told me how to really get rid of nutgrass, and I'm believing you're going to say I don't have to work that hard, because I'm the official lazy gardener of South Haven.
Okay.
Somebody told me to put on rubber gloves and then put on cloth gloves and put the poison on the cloth gloves and rub the nutsedge. And they were saying every time you pull it, it sends out messages to make more.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really?
It's not exactly that. Nutsedge, duckgrass is most of the kind that the weed is. They send out runners, and they have that little underground nut. Matter of fact, there's one of this called yellow nut sedge. It's big. It's actually pretty. It gets almost knee high, and its tubers are called chufa, and it's actually edible. I used to be able to buy chufa seed, but they send out little rhizomes and little nutlets. So when you pull the main one, it sort of triggers the nutlets to become new plants. So every time you pull one, you get 5. So anyway, I'll answer your question first, but if you decide just start pulling it, that's what I do in my garden. If you pull it when you see it, when the ground is moist, when it first comes up fairly young, then you can get it. And then as soon as the new ones come up, while they're small, pull them before they have a chance to make new nutlets. And within 2 or 3 or maybe 4 pullings, each one gets easier. You can get rid of almost all of it. First pulling takes the time. Second, come right back. Don't let the new ones get a chance to get established. And then after that, it's just pulling a few here and there. And as long as the ground is moist, you can get it a lot of times a little nutlet at all. But the young ones don't have time to make the nutlets. But to answer your question, there are some herbicides that only kill nut sedge. Matter of fact, there's one called sedge hammer, not sledgehammer, but sedge hammer. And it kills it, roots, nuts, and all. But if you wanted to use something like glyphosate, which is a pretty effective, safe herbicide, it kills anything you put it on the green parts of. And I think I'm the one who started this idea of putting on a plastic glove, then a cotton glove, and then soaking it in the glyphosate. Don't get it all over you. Just be careful about it, and then just go out and caress stuff. This works even on poison ivy. All you gotta do is wet the leaves really good with the stuff. So that's, if it's in with other plants and you don't feel like pulling, that'd be a good approach. But if you do, but by the time you've done that, you could have pulled, instead of caressing it, just pull it, and then come back within a month or 2 and get the new ones before they have a chance to take a nut. That works also. It takes probably less time.
Well, so much preparation with all this, finding your gloves and getting your poison together and all that kind of thing. When you see it, you just grab it. But seems like every time it rains, it's already knee high. It's like,
and what's it growing in with?
With the roses, with the
well, you can use the herbicide that I recommend. And I know a lot of people don't like, they just have a thing against chemicals, but salt will kill you too. There's a lot of bad things. As long as you're careful with it, any of the herbicides that contain glyphosate, starts with a GLY. If it doesn't say glyphosate, it's not what I'm talking about. It only kills what you put it on the green leaves of. It doesn't poison soil. And we're not talking about big agriculture here and just spraying all of it and getting it all over creation yourself. But the occasional use of glyphosate, you can get it in squirt bottles and squirt just the base of the plants. And the lower leaves, as long as you keep it off your roses, it will not hurt your roses. As a scientist, I'm very sure of this. So you could get the squirt stuff with glyphosate, not Roundup, but glyphosate. And as long as you keep it off the leaves of your desirable plants, it works really, really well. But so does pulling.
Right,
it just takes a little bit longer first time.
Another poison question. I used to listen to you back in the 80s, and you used to say that we could spray the underside of the leaves of some plants because the top of the leaf was shiny. And I'm just wondering if there's any way that would work on winter creeper, because winter creeper and what is that hedge? Privet hedge. I've got winter creeper, I've got privet hedge, I've got honeysuckle, I've got all these invasive, irritating things, and I'm like, can I maybe take some cardboard and get to the back of the leaf and spray the underside? Will that kill this stuff, or am I just going to try to stuff with
the idea of spraying undersides, and again, it doesn't matter whether you're using synthetic or natural herbicides or even fertilizers. Some plants have a slick leaf. The top of the leaf is real slick, and sprays, insecticides, fungicides, herbicides, they beat up and roll off. And those are the ones where you're going to get the underside of the leaf with it. But I have winter creeper, which folks who may not know, this is a viney, semi-shrub, semi-vine type of euonymus. I have privet, I have ligustrum, I've got taller trees. I've got oaks from my neighbors. Because I've got a cottage garden, and birds love to roost in everything. And wherever they roost, they drop seeds. So I'm always having to pull those in Virginia creeper. But anyway, if you get something that's got glyphosate on it, again, I don't sell the stuff. I don't sell anything. It's the safest, most effective material I know of, as long as you wet the leaves with it. It works best on young, actively growing plants, though. So if you want to, Rebecca, if you'll cut the plants you don't like back, let them sprout back out, and then spray or somehow get it on the new growth. You don't have to spray as much. You're less likely to get it all over everything else, and it has a shorter distance to go down the plant and kill the roots, which is what it does. It goes in the plant, kills the roots, then the top dies a few days later. So if you got a really bad thing, so either when they're young, treat them then, or cut them back and spray the new growth. It's a lot safer, uses less material, and it's more effective.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Felder. You have a great weekend.
I appreciate it. Thank you. By the way, you're in DeSoto County, right?
Yes, sir.
They've got if you go down to the county agent's office, they got all sorts of really good help. They got some master gardeners there and a cool little demonstration garden there. But if you walk around that demonstration garden, look at all the same stuff that you got, that they've got, that they have to pull too. If there was an easy way to do it, we'd all do it.
Yeah, now you call it a demonstration garden, but I go by there and they say, what? They call it a butterfly garden. But it's a garden. You have a good weekend.
Well, see, their job is to demonstrate effective techniques in plants and all. It's a demonstration garden. There just happened to be a pollinator garden. But anyway, you look back in there, they got the same kind of the master gardeners out there with their down on their knees and elbows and their butts up in the air pulling weeds, just like you and I do.
I love it, Felder. You always say if there was a better way to do it than hands and knees, we would do it.
Yeah, I mean, look at my arm. Look how scratched up my arms are. If I didn't have to do that, I wouldn't. Anyway, if we got another call.
No, it's also time for us to go ahead and take our mid-hour break. We got the cheesy tune locked and loaded, so let's do it.
Okay, and this is the Flight of the Bumblebee, and I forgot his name. I get it.
Bobby McFerrin, Yo-Yo Ma.
Bobby McFerrin and Yo-Yo Mama.
Okay, if you say so.
Anyway, it's a really good combination of Flight of the Bumblebee. Wonderful between the cello and the whistlers. It's just incredible. So we're going to be back with more of Gestalt Gardener. And I got time for your phone calls. I got some pictures to show, but also you live stream listeners, shoot us an email. We'll be right back, me and Java and all the other folks at MPB right after this. Yo, mama.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bobby Rush. As a blues man, I love Mississippi Public Broadcasting. If you support Mississippi music and their local programming, donate now, right now, and become a member today, not tomorrow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Doesn't matter how big or small, but we prefer big. Thank you very much.
Mississippi is a place of deep roots where every story matters and every voice can be heard. At MPB, we stand with our local communities, bringing you the voices of those who shape our state through local programming that reflects our culture across small towns to big cities, from the Delta to the coast. We tell the stories that define us, from the music that carries our voices to the leaders who inspire change. MPB brings you the heart of Mississippi, celebrating Mississippi one story at a time. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Together through the years, together in the future. MPB, Your stories, our mission.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Welcome back, horticulturalist Felder Rushing. And John, before we get any further, let's see if we can get Abram to put up picture number 22. This is something I wanted to share with everybody because it's just a philosophy, and it's just too good. And this picture doesn't look like me, but I could be this with an old long-haired guy with a big old gray beard and a cowboy hat. But here's his message. You don't become cooler with age, but you do care progressively less about being cool, which is the only true way of being cool. This is called the geezer's paradox. Yeah, see, Java, when you get a point where you don't care anymore about being cool, that makes you cool, but you got to be old to get there. Anyway, enough of that.
Well, I have many retorts, but we'll keep it gardening.
Okay. Well, it's true about gardening. You know, I reached a point where some weeds don't bother me and bugs don't bother me. As you know, there's some things that they're not hurting me and they're not killing the plant. So it's just like there's a type of insect called a hibiscus sawfly. We'll be getting calls about this, and I'll forget the name of it. But there's a certain hibiscus plant, and this little critter gets on the bottom and it chews all the green out of the leaves, but it leaves the veins. And there's no really good way to get rid of the hibiscus sawfly because it just keeps coming back and back and back. Have to spray all the time. So I just learned to call it lace leaf hibiscus. And it works. They keep flowering. As long as they got new growth of flowers, I don't care if they got lace leaves or not. So I guess that's that geezer's paradox. The more we learn, the less we care, the cooler we get.
Yeah. And I mean, the number one thing is, caring about other people's quote unquote opinions, because your garden, Rick's garden, even in the neighborhood that he's in, I mean, we have a little bottle tree in our backyard.
Let's show a picture of it. Picture number 15, Java. I stopped by and visited with you and Crystal the other day, and y'all still have that bottle tree up. Picture number 15.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get some more of those blue bottles, but I don't want to. Yeah, that's our little nook.
As I recall, Crystal wasn't keen on having a bottle tree in the backyard, but I got one of you girls. We had a shrub that got cut back. I got one of the girls to put some bottles on it. I guess Crystal just says, well, as long as it's okay with the girl. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, and then 99% is what she wanted, so 1% can be something she's not that favorable about.
And it is pretty nice. If we can put up picture number 13, this is a picture of some of the herbs that she grows, cucumbers and peppers and basils and all sorts of stuff in small boxes. It's not a big garden. You don't have to have a tiller. And then picture number 16, this is some of the summer stuff and some of the winter stuff. You got some of the kale, the purple kale and the lacinato, the blue kale that's starting to peter out. Did y'all actually eat any of that, or is she just growing it for looks?
No, we kind of grew. I think we ate a little bit of that purple kale, but it's just really just for looks.
Yeah. Well, it's like I call kale upscale collards, what it is. But anyway, it does look good, and if you get hungry, you can eat on it. By the way, I gave her some some plants of a bean vine to put. You got that little arbor thing that help you put up, made out of fencing bent over.
Mm-hmm.
But that bean, picture number 16, and just to give you an idea what this bean is going to do, because when she want to know if you could eat it, I'm thinking if you could swallow it, I guess you could. But they are big beans. They call it jack bean, like Jack and the Beanstalk beans. But anyway, I don't know if Crystal realized that this is what she's planting.
That's what's coming. Yeah, we'll see it when it gets there.
Okay, and the last one, I know we got callers, but I got to put this picture up, picture number 17, and that's probably the last one we'll do today. But you had a big storm and some stuff had fallen out of one of your trees, and I found a great big old broken off piece of a mistletoe, and I'm holding the mistletoe up, and Java eased over with me, and I think you look like you're about to kiss me behind the ear there. I'm not sure.
I was just surprised that you found the mistletoe in my, and then, oh man, I was at home. I got a little hole in my shirt. I was,
but it's okay because look at me. I mean, I wear faded black t-shirt. I wear blue jeans and t-shirts in Java. A lot of people don't realize that I actually live in a small cabin behind my main house because I'm gone a lot and I rent it out. He keeps an eye on things. But I live in a little cabin in the back. And I only have 2 drawers. Susan has 2 drawers. I got 2 drawers. I got one for my jeans and stuff, and the other for my t-shirts and underwear. So I only have black t-shirts and jeans because I don't have any room for anything else. And it sure makes putting on socks easier every day when you only have all the same color socks.
Yeah.
Anyway, we need to get back to gardening. Did you two folks send something in?
Yeah, we got a couple questions from the YouTube. We appreciate everybody always tuning in, and we get a wide variety of people because this question comes all the way from Nashville, and it says we live in Nashville and would like to improve the quality of our turf. We have Bermuda, but we get a lot of weeds mixed in. So we overseeded with rye in the winter / spring months, and we have a few questions. So question number 1, and we'll go through them. Question number 1, does the rye harm the Bermuda?
And the answer is yes, it does, in a subtle way. You plant ryegrass in the fall, Bermuda grass goes dormant in the fall. And in the spring, you cut the ryegrass down, the Bermuda grass comes up. But if you leave the ryegrass out too long, it shades the new growth of the Bermuda, which weakens it. When Bermuda grass, when southern grasses green up, that first flush of leaves, that jump starts the root system for the whole year. And if it gets shaded out or cut too close, then it starts off with a poor root system. So if you're going to do that, you need to start cutting the ryegrass really pretty close in March or so that the Bermuda grass gets as much sunshine. Also, ryegrass sometimes needs to be fertilized in the fall or the winter, and that can damage Bermuda. So the main thing is I would make sure you're using what they call perennial ryegrass. It's not really perennial, but it's a better quality. It grows lower, and it's just a prettier color. And don't sow it too thick. Don't try to make it a carpet out there, and start cutting it close in May so that you have more sunshine for the Bermuda. And don't fertilize your Bermuda grass at all until at least April. In Nashville, maybe the end of April, because you want to let it green up and be mowed a time or two before you start pushing with fertilizer. So anyway, cut the ryegrass close. Don't sow it too thick. And be sure to wait till late April before you fertilize your Bermuda grass. Weeds are a symptom of a thin lawn, and if you don't have a real good, thick, healthy lawn, you can have weeds. You can kill all weeds all you want, but more are going to come back. So concentrate on keeping your grass thick with fertilizer and mowing and watering.
Man, Felder, you really are the best because you knocked out all their questions in one, except for they did say, for Nashville, what type of Bermuda grass is best?
Well, the only Bermuda grass you can get from seed is called common Bermuda grass. Just the only one you get from seed. They have some hybrid Bermuda grasses that you plug or put sods or whatever, and they're the kind you see on golf courses. But these are designed to be mowed at a ½ tall and fertilized and watered a lot. Hybrid Bermudas are high maintenance. If you're not willing to give it high maintenance, just stick with the common Bermuda. Mow it at the lowest setting, maybe the second to lowest setting, fertilize it in April. And if you go more than a month without rain, give it a good soaking. But also keep in mind that 100% Bermuda, 100% St. Augustine, 100%, that's not natural. It's absolutely, and it's perfectly okay to have some low-growing other kind of plants in there with it, just a mow what grows approach. As long as you mow regularly, fertilize once in April, just mow what grows. You know, if you want to have a perfect lawn, then have an area set aside like a putting green with this, that you can water and fertilize and mow as sort of like a shining gem. So have two types of grass, a really nice, well-maintained putting green type that's taken care of, and then a separate mow it grows area, just like they do in golf courses.
Okay. And that question came from Cecile and John, and they wanted you to know that they love the show and have been listening for 20 years.
Appreciate it. Last time I was in Nashville, I gave a lecture at a botanical garden there called Cheekwood. And they got a lot of garden art out there. So if you haven't had a chance to go visit that, go out and visit Cheekwood. They got some cool stuff. And you'll notice that their grass ain't perfect, and it's a great garden.
And I guess kind of a open-ended question maybe. When do you think it got to be just the standard of we have to have that manicured golf course kind of lawn, and not really well, if we want to just keep it low and whatever grows, we just keep it low. But everybody wants that kind of specific.
I know exactly when it happened. As a matter of fact, I've got 3 different books, but there's one called Lawn, The American Obsession. Turf grass, like we know, Java, were not really invented. They weren't really popular until the early 1900s. You know, we didn't have, you couldn't, you know, St. Augustine centipede and all like that. People just mowed whatever grew. And, you know, and before cheap gasoline engines, which came around about during World War II, we had these big clunky things of these push-type mowers. And we didn't have the chemical herbicides that we had then. And when the chemical herbicides started coming out, and they're okay. If you want to use them, I don't have a problem with them. But I worked at a garden center starting in the 70s when these weed killers were starting to first come out really strong. And the garden centers make so much profit off that. So their advertisements, which are paid for by the fertilizer and the herbicide and the lawn equipment company, they all said, if you don't have a nice lawn, you're not a good person. World War II, they had advertising saying, you're not patriotic if you don't have a nice lawn, and which means fertilize and mow and all that stuff. It was all paid for by the industry, which didn't exist until early part of this century, last century, 100 years ago. So we were sold the idea that if you don't do all this stuff, you're a bad person. And we don't buy into that anymore. So if you don't have a nice lawn, we can help you. I can help you. I'm a turfs guy. I wrote the 4 of the best-selling lawn care book in the South. But if you don't want to do all the stuff it requires to do this stuff, if you're not willing to do all that, it's not settling for having it's called a mow what grows type of flower lawn. And it's okay. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise, because otherwise they got the hand in your pocketbook, or you get living in an HOA and they're trying to tell you what to do.
Yeah, the HOA has something to do with it too. Nothing.
I'm gonna quickly say there's nothing wrong with that, Java. You live in a nice neighborhood. You don't want people parking their cars out in the front yard and all that either.
That is true. That is true.
But it's at some point it gets beyond what is reasonable. Let's say. So if you want to have a mow it grows lawn, I can help you do it in a way that you can pull it off. So I'm not saying it's either all or none. It's a wide gray band, and you can have a beautiful, beautiful lawn that's not 100% perfect. You can do it, and I can help. But if you want to have a perfectly weed-free yard, I can help with that too, if you want to. Bring it on.
Now, we did get a question from the email garden@mpbonline.org, and this is from Diane. And it says, I live in Oxford. Can you please tell me what is wrong with the leaves on my plum trees? The leaves eventually turn brown and drop off. Is there any way to stop this? And she sent this on Sunday, just a couple of days ago. So I know she probably was checking out the podcast or the rebroadcast. So you can always send your question at any time to garden@mpbonline.org.
And by the way, folks, if you're not aware of the YouTube thing and the MPB Online org thing, you can watch his live stream in the middle of the night if you can't sleep. It'll part of it put you to sleep. But I really can't say without looking at it. There's several diseases that affect plums and peaches. Peaches and plums are closely related. So without seeing, I really can't diagnose. But I will say this: go down Highway 7, just south of town. That's where the extension office is. Take a branch of it and have the county extension office look at it. And if they're not sure, if you don't feel like they're sure, have them send it to MSU. They have a diagnostic service that's free. But the county extension office right there at Highway 7, just south of town, going down towards Coffeyville.
Yeah, I think that the people kind of forget, in their areas that extension service really kind of can cater to the specifics of that area,
Yeah. And a lot of people may not know. They may not realize, Java, that I'm a retired extension horticulturist. I mean, I'm an associate extension horticulturist because I wasn't on campus. But my job was to take all the university horticulture, home gardening stuff, and take it out to the community. So I retired fully as being the area horticulture specialist and doing all the media for the state. So, I looked up stuff on the MSU Cares website just the other day. Somebody had a question about something, and I can't remember. Or I don't keep track with the latest products and all. And so I use it myself. I go to msucares.com, which is the MSU home extension service. Type in whatever your question is and have a picture. Matter of fact, she could probably go to msucares.com, search box, put peachtree diseases, and they'll have pictures of all of them. How about that?
Now,
because
all diseases aren't created equal. Now, we got about a minute left, and I do want you to talk about this for a quick second. Martha, we've mentioned this a couple times over the past few weeks about the night blooming cereus. And it was just, the question was, some bloom every year. I think she may be wondering why hers are not blooming.
Yeah, they can bloom more than once a year. They're in the tropics, they bloom every year. Okay. So it's triggered by the environment, by temperature, by moisture, things like that. So anyway, Java, yes, it can bloom every year. Matter of fact, in the tropics they do. Java, got a quick question. This is something for the blend. Okay. What does the catchy music play with the slideshow during the YouTube breaks on this?
We'll have to get back next week. I have to look that up.
Meanwhile, I know we're at the end of we got a good season. I'm holding up my little purple Irish potato with the sprouts on top. I'm going to cut it into 2 pieces. I'm going to plant them. Even though you can't plant potatoes in Mississippi, I ain't in Mississippi. So you go on with your okra and your tomatoes and your squash and stuff. And if you have some questions, I'll be here same time, same place next week. Or you can email us, garden@mpbonline.org. Or I'll see you on Mississippi Gardening Facebook. I'm horticulturist Felder Rushing. Awesome producer Java Chapman and Crystal's lovely garden. We appreciate all that, and we'll be back same time, same place next week. If you have a chance, take a kid to a garden center or a farmer's market and show them how to do what we do best, and that's get dirty. It's okay.